My name is Joel Reck. I chair the Boston Harbor Island Alliance, who, along with all of our other partners and friends here today, and countless others who are unable to be here, are bringing the Boston Harbor Islands to life. This is a resource that no one's vision can be too grand for. It's really an extraordinary, extraordinary circumstance that we have 34 Boston Harbor Islands 15 minutes from where we are standing to develop, to enjoy, to bring people to. And today, it is our great, great pleasure and with great, great excitement that we look forward to this groundbreaking and the construction of a pavilion which is going to put the Boston Harbor Islands much more on the map, much more on the front burner of people not only in the city of Boston and in Greater Boston, but for all of the tourists to Boston. These islands have no limits. The limits are up to us. And by your presence today and by your hard work in getting us to this point, we will get there. Our board has been hard at work on this for a long time with so many others. Doug McGarrah, where is Doug? Raise your hand. Doug McGarrah has been our point person, and with his colleagues at Foley Hoag have done an extraordinary job. I must say, I have new regard for people in government and in the nonprofit sector for the frustrations, the turmoil, the grief that is necessary to get us to a day like today. Tom Powers, our president, where is Tom? Tom is an extraordinary quarterback for the Boston Harbor Island Alliance and for the islands more generally and more importantly. Tom works tirelessly, has done an extraordinary job on so many aspects of the development of the islands, of increasing visitation to the islands, of increasing awareness about the islands. Tom, we're all in your debt. You're a fabulous guy. It's my delight to be able to work with you. Please come on up and run this show as you do every day.
Thanks, Joel, and thank you very much for your leadership of the board and all the projects that we have underway. Anybody who was around Boston this last weekend knows of the events and the water main break that really dominated the conversation over the weekend. Fortunately, knock on wood, of course, looks like that's turning out very well and things are going well and fixing it. And that's really a credit to a partnership among a whole lot of agencies. We're here today to celebrate another project that really is an amazing partnership and collaboration of an awful lot of agencies. In this case, multiple federal agencies, multiple state agencies, multiple city agencies, multiple nonprofits, and a big contribution from the private sector. All those entities are way too many to mention to start, but I do want to single out just a couple of folks. First of all, Senator Petrocelli from the State Senate representing Therese Murray, and Representative Michaelowicz from the Massachusetts House. They are terrific partners. Last fall, we had a sudden surprise that we looked like we needed to, there was some ambiguity in our legal authority to do this project, and they and the legislature really stepped up quickly and got that solved, and we are most appreciative. Also want to single out a few of our major donors. A big part of this project, of course, is going to be operating and maintaining it once it's built. And so with our donors' help, we're going to pledge to do that. Clay Harris and his team from GDF Suez, Jim and Kathy Stone, George and Andy Mackhomer, and the team from State Street Foundation. Much thanks to all of you. pretty much everybody in this room knows, the Harbor Islands are really one of the jewels of Boston. But for a long time, they've been less known and less appreciated, less used than we all would like to see. This project that we break ground on today is really destined to change that and make the islands much better used, much better known. Somebody who really gets the importance of urban parks and getting kids outdoors, getting it to the great resource right in our backyard is our first speaker, Congressman Mike Capuano. Congressman has been a tireless advocate for the islands. He's out on the islands quite frequently. And with the late Senator Ted Kennedy and the delegation from Massachusetts, really spearheaded the effort to get federal funding that really makes this project doable. So with that, I'd like to welcome Congressman Mike Capuano.
I'm going to say it before Tom Menino does. My wife is the brains of the family and the looks. I don't know how many people in this tent grew up in Boston, but I did, and I grew up about 2.5 miles from here, and I never knew there was a single Harbor Island out there. I didn't even know East Boston used to be an island. I didn't know. Boston was Boston. We came in, we ate, we saw our family and our friends, we went home. The only time I ever got on the harbor was when we went to the ferry to go to Nantasket to cause trouble. And the only thing I knew about the harbor was it was a good place to dump a car that somebody else had stolen. And that was about it. And when I became familiar with the concept of islands out there, first of all, it's like, how many? What do they use them for? How come we never knew that? And then now that there's a group of people, the Alliance, that's trying to make them better, and others who have cleaned up the harbor, and by the way, I will tell you, I don't know what else is going to happen in Washington, but I can guarantee you one thing. There will be no offshore oil drilling in New England. I don't even know if we have oil. But now that the harbor is clean and usable, and now that people like me know about the islands, and that there are people like the Alliance trying to make them more useful and more friendly and more accessible, I have come to believe that it's probably one of the most valuable long-term resources this area has. It will be something wonderful for our kids. It's already something neat for me. It'll be something wonderful for tourists, for business. I think the islands have a fantastic future, and I can't tell you how proud I am in the small part I've been able to play. And as far as this group goes, the Alliance, I want to be real clear. First of all, I am particularly proud to be here today at the groundbreaking for the first structure on the Greenway. That should say something. That should say something. I'll tell you, I was pushing for the first structure on the Greenway, but that was 2 years ago, but it's okay, we have it. I think this will be a great symbol to the community, great symbol to the city, great symbol to North End and the rest of Boston, that good things can happen here. And I am particularly proud to be here today. I'm particularly grateful to those people who have stepped up. And I will tell you that, by the way, as a point of information, since it's always underlying, this building is and will be one of those terrible things that we like to call an earmark. Millions of dollars of your tax dollars are coming here, and I want to be very clear. I think it's a good use of tax dollars. This is good for the community. It is good for the greater Boston area. And I think it's great for the Greenway. So I'm happy to be here. I'm proud to be with so many of my good friends. And now I figure, I wonder what Tommy's going to say now that I've introduced my wife.
Thank you very much, Congressman. It would be hard to imagine a better partner than our next speaker, Mayor Tom Menino of the City of Boston. He has long had a vision for the islands and a passion for the islands that is really contagious to everybody that he talks to. We are really proud to spend a lot of time working with the mayor and his team, and we share a vision of what the islands can be to knit the city with the harbor and the islands. Mayor Menino.
Thank you, Tom. Congressman Capuano, you said it all. Your wife is the brains. We always understood that. The only reason why we ever supported you because of Barbara. And surely not because of your good looks, that's for sure. I'm really pleased to be here this morning. This is one of those very special occasions we have. You know, a lot's been written about the Greenway and not enough activity and nobody goes there. Well, you should have been here this weekend. The thousands of people that were on the Greenway this weekend. It's a great place in our city. And now, this new pavilion will strengthen two of the city's most treasured public assets, the Harbor Islands and the Rose Kennedy Greenway. And just think about, like, Congressman Capuano. You know, I came from Hyde Park. We didn't know anything about the islands when we grew up in Hyde Park. He grew up in Somerville. He's trying to take credit for saying he grew up in Boston. Somerville. See, everybody wants to say they came from Boston. Congressman Somerville, remember? This Harbor Islands Pavilion will really be the gateway to the islands. I always have said over the years that untold opportunities we have in those 34 islands out there. What can there be the future of them? What can we have as an economic engine out there? People visit out there. Look at Spectacle Island today. How many people go out to Spectacle Island in the summertime? To go swimming, to go hiking, to go boating. We created that island out of the Big Dig. Look at those opportunities that we have. The pavilion will bring shade, the right kind of shade, to the Greenway. And also seeding to the Greenway. Plants native to the island will provide that summer shade that we are looking for on the Greenway. There will be place for special events, a small retail function area, and concessions. This is because we all work together to make this happen. And I just want to say to folks, this is the beginning of something good on the Greenway, working together to make it accessible to the public, working together to make the islands accessible to the public. I think our next challenge is those 34 islands. What can they be for the future of our city and our region? There's beautiful islands out there. I look at Long Island, my camp, the Camp Harborview. We turned a part of an island that was underused for so many years to be an oasis for young people in the summertime. Let's continue to work together to focus on a new growth of Boston, new growth opportunities for our area. And this is all within the environmental realm we all talk about. A better community, a better environment, better opportunity, all of us in the future. Thanks a million.
Thank you, Mayor. One of the great things, and there are many, about the Big Dig project is the creation of the beautiful park where we're standing now. And that's really the only thing that allows us to be thinking about a centrally located kind of pavilion like this one. Our next speaker, Secretary Jeffrey Mullen of Mass Department of Transportation, and the Governor and Lieutenant Governor deserve a lot of credit for keeping their eye on the ball, continuing to finish this project and to make it everything it can be for the citizens of the Commonwealth. Secretary Mullen.
On behalf of Governor Patrick, I'm excited and happy to be here with you today. I'd like to initially thank Congressman Capuano, members of the U.S. Congress who provided the funding, the mayor, of course, Senator Petrocelli, Representative Michaelwitz, and our other elected officials for making this day possible. Let me, for me, this, of course, is 20 or 25 years in the making, and it's, while the mayor hit it on the nose in celebrating two of Boston's great treasures, that is the Greenway and the islands, for me, it's also a celebration of the completion of our two massive infrastructures, and that is the cleanup of the harbor and the completion of the Central Artery Tunnel project. Both are magnificent public works projects. Both have had issues. I certainly have admitted the arteries issues in the past, and we don't need to talk about that today, but the completion of these infrastructure projects has made today possible. I am extremely happy as the Secretary of Transportation to celebrate that and to realize the benefits that good planning, good infrastructure investments bring to our community. Let me also add that the mayor and I spoke on Thursday about the attractiveness and the life that has been brought to the Greenway. And let me tell you, if anybody thinks that people aren't down here, they're not paying attention. The mayor's certainly paying attention and the governor's paying attention. People are using these facilities and we encourage more of it. Lastly, I just want to thank our partnership and acknowledge our partnership with the Boston Harbor Islands, the National Park Service, and the Rose Fitzgerald Kennedy Greenway Conservancy on the development of this magnificent structure on the Rose Kennedy Greenway. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Secretary Mullen. This morning, as I was getting up and brushing my teeth, flipped on the news, brushing my teeth with boiled water, boiled water. No competition on the bottled water, but boiling for sure. Flipped on the news, and there was Secretary Bowles, and attractive yellow slicker, doing a news conference at 6:45 about the progress of the MWA water break. He continues to be focused on that problem, so he is not here with us today, but Assistant Secretary David Cash is in his stead. I do want to acknowledge that one of the agencies within the Secretary of Energy and Environmental Affairs, Department of Conservation and Recreation, is the owner of half of the 34 islands that make up the Boston Harbor Islands National Park area. They are the major staff, the major management, the major muscle that keeps that island park in good shape, greeting visitors. A number of them are here today with us, along with their colleagues from the National Park Service, and I would particularly like to thank all of them for the work they do every day making this park special. With that, please welcome Dave Cash.
Thank you very much, Tom, and also on behalf of Governor Patrick and Secretary Bowles, it's an honor to be standing here today at the brink of starting this wonderful project. And we've heard several other speakers talk about the unique qualities of the islands, the fact that they are so close to downtown Boston, the kind of diversity of cultural, natural history kind of attributes that these islands have. But I think another thing that's been alluded to as well that's particularly important at this time is the amazing partnership that's been able to be brought together and made a reality of the hopes and visions that people had 15, 20, 25 years ago to make this a reality. And I think that's epitomized by the staff on my left and right. How often do you see a state park agency shoulder to shoulder with the National Park Service? And these folks work tirelessly to make access, interpretation, science happen on the islands in a very exciting way, and I think they all deserve a huge round of applause for the work that they do. I will say that I once worked as a volunteer in a national park many, many years ago, and I always, as a volunteer, I wasn't allowed to have it, but I always wanted one of those cool hats. And I said, I still don't have them. So again, it's the community groups, private sector, state and federal agencies that work together to make this happen. And I feel like we are at a major turning point in the parks. Not only is this going to be built, but we have the major renovations at George's Island, the visitor center change there, a new maintenance facility, all equipped with solar, new energy efficiency, all on the island. We see in the near future Pettix Island being renovated in a very exciting way. Again, I believe the mayor talked about we are only limited by our imagination on how these parks can be used, both for recreation, for natural resource protection, and I think most importantly, what's so special about this park is the access that it affords to kids and families that don't get the kind of experience that is afforded only 10 or 15 minutes from Boston. So we, from the Secretariat, from the Governor, are very excited about the continuation of this partnership as we move forward with this milestone. Thank you very much.
As a number of people have referenced, we are here on the beautiful Rose Fitzgerald Kennedy Greenway. And our next speaker is the chief advocate, cheerleader, all-purpose driver of all that is good about developing the Conservancy and bringing life to this Greenway. We are extraordinarily happy to be helping to activate the Greenway and to be partners. I sort of joke with her that we're kind of joined at the hip for the indefinite future, working together on everything that comes up. Please welcome Nancy Brennan, Executive Director.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a wonderful day this is. We're really turning the page on another chapter of the Greenway. And I want to just begin by saying that this theme of vision and partnership, it's all in this tent and the surrounding of the people surrounding this tent. Congressman Capuano, thank you for everything you did to bring the Greenway as well as the Harbor Island Pavilion into reality. And our champion, Mr. Mayor, our champion of the city and of the Greenway, we thank you so much. And our full and energetic partner, Secretary Mullen. It is a day we were looking forward to say, all right, the extraordinary Greenway that is a product of 15 years of effort by citizens and community groups, neighborhood advocacy organizations, and people who were believers that this new space that only 5 years ago was a darkened tunnel, shaded, Mr. Mayor? Shaded by the overhead highway, and a place that no one sought out for recreation and relaxation today is the Rose Kennedy Greenway. But we always knew that there was more to come, that there was an extension of the vision. There was more to do to bring it into the daily lives of, as Senator Kennedy said, and when I first came to Boston to take this job, it was one of your events, Tom, that Senator Kennedy stood up and talked about how important this new facility was going to be. And one of the reasons he alluded to is that it would integrate the Harbor Island Alliance, the Harbor Islands through the Harbor Island Alliance and the National Park Service into the heart of our city, and how true that's going to be. And he also said about the Greenway that it was purely a place that was important because it was going to make people happy every day. Doesn't that sound like him? Thank you, Senator Kennedy. He's so missed. The Harbor Island Alliance Pavilion, this wonderful pavilion, will indeed be a place where people, whether they are residents or people who are visiting our city from all over the country and all over the world, can come and ask for directions and supplement the work that our own Greenway and our yellow shirts do to answer questions for people and help get them on their way to enjoy our city. But it's more than that. It's also a place that will be full of education programs. I am a museum educator in my checkered career, and there's nothing that makes my heart beat faster to imagine how we can peel back this contemporary landscape and help people understand the 4 centuries of history that surround us in this very part of Boston. And we're really looking forward to a continuing collaboration with our friends Bruce Jacobson and his extraordinary team at the National Park Service. And last but not least, again, this is a Greenway that's been 15 years in the making. We can take another 15 years to get it right, to bring this space on board for people in a way that truly makes us all proud and makes us want to dance every day. And it's wonderful to be here at another turning of the page of the Rose Kennedy Greenway. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Senator Kennedy would indeed be very proud were he here today to celebrate this with us. As many of you know, It's one of the great ideas America's ever had, to borrow Ken Burns' film series phrase, is America's national parks. And we are really fortunate and proud to be part of the national park unit, the system of national parks in the country. With us today is, as final speaker, the Boston Harbor Islands National Park Area Superintendent, Bruce Jacobson. Bruce has worked tirelessly right alongside me and a whole host of other folks to make today a reality. He and his staff will be helping to manage and staff the pavilion when it's open. We are most grateful to have him here as one of our closest partners. Please welcome Bruce Jacobson.
Congressman Capuano, Mayor Menino, Secretary Mullen, and Assistant Secretary Cash, thank you for the ongoing support that you give to the Boston Harbor Islands and to the National Park Service. Also with us today, I wanted to mention Jim Hunt, who with David Cash, they are the chair and vice chair of the Boston Harbor Islands Partnership, which is a federal operating committee that coordinates all of these many entities that work together to present the Boston Harbor Islands and protect them for the future. So thank you, Jim and David, for that role. There are many other members of the Boston Harbor Islands Partnership with us, that official federal agency. Commander Nathan Knapp from the U.S. Coast Guard is here, Carl Pastore from DCR, Tony Pollack, Boston Park Commissioner, Jim Doolin from Massport, Arthur Pearson from Thompson Island, and perhaps others I didn't see as they came in, so thank you. I'd also like to recognize Bob McIntosh, who's standing in the rear, who is Deputy Regional Director of the National Park Service, and the fellow superintendents from area national parks that are here with us today. So thank you for joining us. And particularly I'd like to point out George Price. Where are you, George? George. George is the former superintendent of Boston Harbor Islands National Park Area, and with Kathy Abbott really created the idea of developing this visitor facility here on the Greenway. So he's now superintendent of Cape Cod National Seashore. So our thanks to every one of you and to all of you who love parks. Our thanks. Also a big thanks to our rangers who you see with us today. Let's thank them, because it is the rangers who will be the human face on this pavilion. They'll be the friendly smile that greets visitors. The rangers with Island Alliance staff will greet passersby and invite them in for a visit. And that's the way it should be, because Americans and visitors from around the world turn to park rangers as trusted sources of information when they go to the great outdoors. 2 weeks ago, President Obama convened a White House conference on America's great outdoors, and that conference was a kickoff for a year-long celebration of so many beautiful places that make our country's great outdoors, including national parks, and what makes the national park system one of America's best ideas, that phrase from the Ken Burns film. And Boston Harbor Islands are an important part of that national system. The islands are a national park that provide opportunities for city residents to enjoy America's great outdoors just 15 minutes away. The islands serve as an entry to learning opportunities and protection opportunities on national park units all over the country, of which there are 391 other units. And how many are in Massachusetts? There are 17 sites in Massachusetts, plus the Appalachian Trail and some scenic rivers. So that was your quiz. All of these are places for learning, especially for children. Some of you may know the islands, the Boston Harbor Islands is an unusual national park because the National Park Service does not own the islands. Rather, we rely on close partnership with multiple agencies from the Department of Conservation and Recreation, City of Boston, nonprofits, the Thompson Island Outward Bound Education Center, and the Boston Harbor Island Alliance. Together, we serve visitors and protect these islands for the future. And today is an example of how well this partnership works. Each one of the speakers today is helping to create a wonderful addition to the park, this long-needed Boston gateway to the islands where people can learn about their opportunities to come and visit. And the pavilion will be, as well, a feature that will bring energy and activity to this beautiful greenway. Boston has turned its back on the harbor for so long, and now the harbor is proudly seen as our front yard, a space of which we are proud. And the islands are one of the best ways to experience the Boston Harbor Islands and their natural and cultural resources. And in a way, this pavilion will act as a front porch to the harbor. It'll be a place where rangers will invite visitors to pause for a while and contemplate their next visit to the Boston Harbor Islands. We hope all of you will join us.
Thanks, Bruce. So all this is great, but somebody actually has to build this now that we've done all the talking about setting the stage. And I do want to highlight the beautiful, airy, open design by our architects, Util, Tim and Mimi Love, and their team. And then our construction manager, Turner Special Projects, that's actually going to take those beautiful renderings and turn them into a building that or a facility that we'll all get to see. Next year, we hope to see you all back here in the spring for the real big event, which will be the ribbon cutting when this really reaches operation and begins to be a key part of the life of the Greenway and the city. With that, let me thank you all for coming and ask a couple things. If the speakers could stay around for just a couple minutes for a quick photo op. Also want to mention, and our donors, you know who you are. Also want to mention that all that looking forward is good. The ferries, public ferries to the islands start again this Saturday, May 8th. Hot off the press is a brochure that tells you what you can find this summer on the islands. 50 free things to do. All you have to do is get out there, pick one up on your way out. And with that, we thank you all very much for coming, and we look forward to seeing you next year for the ribbon cutting.